Good afternoon. So, on behalf of Munyal Institute of Ayurveda Medical Sciences, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar series conducted by Munyal Ayurveda College. So, we have with us today Dr. Vyasraj Tantri, Director, Gandhi Hospital. So, he had a brilliant academic career. He finished his BMS from SDM College of Ayurveda, Udupi, and had his post-graduation in the Department of Kaya Chikitsa from Government Ayurveda Medical College, Mysore. And he started his academic career from Munyal Ayurveda College. And at present, he is also the associate professor in the Department of Swasthavrata. And he has been teaching the PG in the Department of Kaya Chikitsa also. So today he will be highlighting about carrier stage of infection and Ayurvedic approach, the management through Ayurvedic approach. So without much waste of time, I would like Dr. Vyasraj Tantri to carry out this session. Sir, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Principal Dr. Satyanarayan sir, Dr. Ravishankar Shnai sir, and all the delegates. Yontah pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjeevayadyakhila shakti dharaswadhamnam anyamscha hasta charana shravanatvagadini pranannamo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. Today, we are dealing with a topic called carrier stage of infection, a prophylactic management through Ayurveda. We are in an era of COVID-19, a pandemic situation where infection is spreading like anything all over the world. As well as we are finding the difficulties in finding out the people who are having the infection but in the carrier stage. So, what is infection? What is carrier stage? How to understand that in Ayurvedic perspective and how to manage that through Ayurveda. So in today's topic, we are dealing with introduction, infection, stages of infection, carrier stage, management, and the conclusion. It is evident that man has won many battles against infectious diseases, but microbes have shown the ability to hit back, and infectious disease may be entering into a new era in the 21st century. With the evidence of antimicrobial agent, some medical leaders believed that the infectious diseases would be soon be eliminated and become historic. Indeed, hundreds of chemotherapeutic agents developed since the World War II, most of which are potent and safe, includes drugs effective not only against the bacteria, but also against the viruses, fungi, and parasites. What is a disease? Disease is a physiological or a psychological dysfunction, whereas illness is a subjective state of a person who feels aware of not being well. Where sickness is a state of social dysfunction, that is a role that the individual assumes when ill, that is called a sickness role. The clinician sees people who are ill rather than the diseases which he must diagnose and treat. However, it is possible to be a victim of disease without feeling ill and to be ill without the signs of physical impairment. The carrier stage is a person will be victim of the disease but may not be ill. It is an effort of an Ayurveda Acharya how he can understand that and treat. Infection. The entry and development or multiplication of an infectious agent in the body of man or animals. It also implies that the body responds in the same way to defend itself against the invader, either in the form of immune response or disease. The infection doesn't cause always an illness. There are several levels of infection called colonization, subclinical or inapparent infection, latent infection, manifestation, or clinical infection. In infections, there are types like acute infection and chronic infection, where acute infection, an infection characterized by sudden onset, rapid progression, and often with the severe symptoms. Where chronic infection, an infection characterized by delayed onset and slow progression. One more variety called as primary infection and secondary infection. Infection that develops in an otherwise of a healthy individual is called as primary infection. An infection that develops in an individual who is already infected with a different pathogen. Localized infection or systemic infection. An infection that is restricted to a specific location or region within the body of the host. Systemic infection, that infection that spreads several regions or areas in the body of the host. Again, one more classification is clinical infection or subclinical infection. An infection with the obvious, observable or detectable symptoms is clinical infection. An infection with few or no obvious symptoms is subclinical infection. Opportunistic infection. An infection caused by microorganisms that are commonly found in the host's environment. This term is often used to refer to infections caused by organisms in the normal flora. The suffix amia. Suffix means that amia means presence of an infectious agent. For bacteremia refers to presence of infectious bacteria. Viremia refers to presence of infectious virus. Fungemia refers to presence of infectious fungus. Septicemia is presence of an infectious agent in the bloodstream. The suffix itis, it's called as inflammation of. Examples like pharyngitis, inflammation of pharynx. Endocarditis, inflammation of heart chambers. Gastroenteritis, inflammation of gastrointestinal tract. Again, whenever we consider infection, we consider bacteria or fungi or anything. There are something called as normal flora in the humans. They are having the activity in the body. That called as symbiosis. The types of symbiosis are mutualism, a symbiotic relationship in which both species benefits. Commensalism, where a symbiotic relationship in which one species benefits and the other species is neither helped nor harmed. For parasitism, a symbiotic relationship in which one species benefits and the other species is harmed generally. The species that benefits is a parasite and is much smaller than the species that harm, that is the host. A parasite will be much smaller than the host. Those normal flora are present in skin, upper respiratory tract, oral cavity, intestines, especially in the large intestine and vaginal tract. Very little normal flora present in eyes and stomach. Normal flora notably absent in lower respiratory tract, muscle tissue, blood and tissue fluids, cerebrospinal fluid, peritoneum, pericardium, and meninges. Benefits of normal flora. Those are nutrient production and processing, like vitamin K production by E. coli, competition with the pathogenic microbes, normal development of immune system. Now coming to infection, the disease causation. There are different concepts of causations were there. In the allopathic science or in the modern science, they had different causes of disease formation. Up to the time of Louis Pasteur, various concepts of disease causation were in vogue. For example, there is something called a supernatural theory of disease, the theory of humors, concept of contagion, miasmatic theory of disease, the theory of spontaneous generation, etc. Discoveries in the microbiology marked the turning point in our etiological concepts. the germ theory of the disease. For long, men groping in darkness about the causation of disease. In 1860, French bacteriologist Louis Pasteur demonstrated the presence of bacteria in the air. He disproved the theory of spontaneous generation. 1873, Pasteur advanced germ theory of disease. In 1877, Robert Koch showed that anthrax was caused by bacteria. After all, attention was focused on microbes and their role in the disease causation. The germ theory of disease causation came to forefront, supplementing the earlier theories of disease causation. Medicines finally rags the dogma and superstition and put on the ropes of scientific knowledge. The concept of cause embodied in the germ theory of disease is generally referred to as a one-to-one relationship between the causal agent and the disease. The disease mode accordingly, disease agent, man and the disease. The germ theory of disease, though it was a revolutionary concept, led many epidemiologists to take one-sided view of disease causation. That is, they could not think beyond the germ theory of disease. It is now recognized that a disease is rarely caused by a single agent alone, but rather depends upon a number of factors which contributes to its occurrence. Epidemiological trait. The germ theory of disease has many limitations. For example, it is well known that not everyone exposed to tuberculosis develops tuberculosis. The same exposure, however, in an undernourished or susceptible person may result in a clinical disease. There are factors relating to the host and environment which are equally important to determine whether or not disease will occur in an exposed host. This demanded broader concept of disease causation that synthesizes the basic factor of agent, host and environment. This is called as epidemiological trait. There should be a host, there should be agent and environment. Each has equal role in the disease formation. Coming to Ayurvedic concepts of infection, where do we get the concepts? How do we get the infection information from the Ayurvedic classics? Deha dhatu pratyanika bhutani dravyani deha dhatu bihi virodha mapadyante. Deha dhatu pratyanika bhutani iti deha dhatunam rasadinam. The agents which are against the deha dhatus, if they enter the body, they will be opposed by the deha dhatus. The agents which enter into the deha body, they will be opposed by the deha dhatus. Those entered are against the deha dhatus. This quotation from Charaka Samhita helps to explain the antigen-antibody reaction which happens in the body when foreign body enters. The antigen-antibody reaction is nothing but which results in the symptom of infection. One more shloka from Prameha Nidana. Vikaranam vighatasya utpatti pratibandhasya bhavaha vighata bhavaha. Vikaranam vighatasya abhavo vikara jananam miti. Tayoho prativisheshaha vikara vigata bhava abhava prativisheshaha. Prativisheshaha means vikara jananam, chirena jananam, anuvikara jananam. It's very clear. Vikaranam vighatasya. Vikaranam disease vigata, that opposes. Pratibandhasya bhavaha vigata bhavaha. Vikaranam vigatasya bhavaha. Tasya abhavaha. Vikaranam vigatasya bhavasya abhavaha. That is vikara jananam. How vikara jananam? That's prativishesha. That may vikara jananam immediately, chirena jananam, or small vikara jananam, anuvikara jananam. The factor which opposes the onset or a production of the disease is called as vikara vighata bhava. When that factor is absent, that is vikara vigata bhava abhava, the disease gets produced. Then the vikara vigata bhava is immunity and its abhava is immunodeficiency. The disease occurs in that state is nothing but the infectious disease. One more concept, upasargaja vyadayaha. Upasargaja iti upasrujyanta iti upasargaha. पीड़ित जन समीप उत्पन्नाः ज्वरादयः संसर्गजाः, one more is संसर्गजाः, where देवद्रोह जनक संसर्गजाः, देह द्रोह का जन संपर्कजाः इत्यर्थः। उपसर्ग संसर्गजयोः अयं विशेषः। उपसर्गजाः ज्वरादि रोग पीडित जन संपर्कात् भवति, संसर्गजाः देवद्रोह जन संसर्कात् भवति, देवद्रोह का जन संसर्कात् भवति। The Jwaradi diseases which occurs due to the specific reason of relation with the another diseased person are upasargaja vyadis. None other than the infectious disease can spread like this. Nowadays that we are seeing, if the person is having respiratory infections or fever, and he can spread the coronavirus immediately to the other person if the person gets in contact with that person. The same, that is nothing but the Pidita jana samipa utpannaha jvaradayah. The person also can get the disease due to the in relation with the person of asymptomatic person, but that in the classical refers who has done the devadroha. That is nothing but the samsargaja vyadi. If the person is asymptomatic, he is not having any symptom, then also if he can spread the disease to other person, or if the person goes to that near that person, he gets the disease. That classic consists that he has done some devadroha. That's why if you are in contact with that person who has done the devadroha, you get the disease. That is called as samsargaja vyadi. If the person is having the symptoms, that is called as upasargaja vyadi. One more concept of infection: prasangad gata samsurshad nishwasat saha bhojanat saha shayyasanat chapi vatsra malyanulepanat kushtam jwaram shofascha netra abhishandevacha aupasargika rogaha sankramanti narannaram. Kushta, jwara, shofa, etc. the aupasargika rogas which gets spread from person to person due to different modes of relationship between the persons. It's nothing but the explanation of spread of infection. Now coming to the again modern aspect, where stages of infection. How infection spreads in the body with the different stages. Where first stage is called an entry of a pathogen. That's called as portal of entry. Second is a colonization, usually at the site of entry, that multiplies, colonization. Incubation period, asymptomatic period between the initial contact with the microbe, the appearance of the first symptom, that period is called as incubation period. Prodromal symptoms, it is not the initial symptoms, it's got nothing but the prodromal symptoms. Fifth period is invasive period, where increasing the severity of symptoms, there will be fever, inflammation and the swelling, tissue damage, infection may spread to other sites, and there will be decline of infection later. In the sixth stage is nothing but the decline of infection. Seventh stage is convalescence, where the infection, the patient is not having any symptoms, but he is still having the microbes in the body. That is convalescent stage. What is a carrier stage? Carrier, in some diseases, due to inadequate treatment or immune response, the disease agent is not completely eliminated, leading to a carrier stage. A carrier is defined as an infected person or animal that harbors a specific infectious agent in the absence of discernible clinical disease and serve as a potential source of infection for others. Where person or animal harbors the infectious agent, he spreads the infectious agent, but he is not having any symptoms of the disease, or any as such, he is not having any symptoms like fever, respiratory infection symptoms, or nothing he is exhibiting. So, but he is spreading, he is nothing but the carrier. As a rule, carriers are less infectious than cases. They are less infectious, but epidemiologically, they are more dangerous than the cases. They are more dangerous than the cases because they escape the recognition and they continuing as they do live with a normal life among the population or community. They readily infect the susceptible individuals over a wider area and a longer period of time under favorable conditions. Because if the person is not having any symptoms, we think he is healthy and we go nearby him, we may get infected. If the person is having symptoms, If he is sneezing, we be away from him. We will be away from him. If he is not at all sneezing, if not even sneezing, then we think he is healthy and we may go near and we may get infected. That's why he is more dangerous, but because he is not sneezing, he may be less infectious. This is a small example. Need not be sneezing only. Example is, if the person is not sneezing, he may be less infectious, but he is more dangerous because we think he is healthy. The elements in the carrier states are the presence of the disease agent in the body. There should be a presence of disease agent in the body. Absence of recognizable signs and symptoms in the body of the disease. Shedding of the disease agent in the discharges or excretions, thus acting as a source of infection for others. These three things should be there to call a carrier state. What are types of carriers? One is incubatory carrier, convalescent carrier, and healthy carrier. This is the first classification. Incubatory carrier, convalescent carrier, and healthy carrier. For a duration, according to the duration, he is a temporary carrier and a chronic carrier. According to the portal of exit, he may be urinary carrier, intestinal carrier, respiratory carrier, or other modes of carriers. Then what is incubatory carrier? Incubatory carriers are those who shed the infectious agent during the incubation period of the disease. You know what is incubation period. In that period, if the person sheds the infectious agent, then he is called as incubatory carrier. Convalescent carriers are those who continue to shed the disease agent during the period of convalescence. Healthy carriers emerge from the subclinical cases. They are the victim of subclinical infection who have developed the carrier state without suffering over the disease. He is not going to suffer in future also. He has never suffered in the previous days, in the past also. So he has infectious agent in the body, but he is having subclinical infection. He is a healthy carrier. Then we will see what are different types of carriers in Ayurveda. To consider incubatory carrier, Krishne ardhe avayave vapi yatra ange kupito bhrisham dosho vikaram nabhasi megavat tatra varshati na atyartham kupitaschapi lino margeshu tishtati nishpratyanikah kalena hetum asadhya kupyati. The kupita dosha, the first three stages of infection, we have seen the stages of infection. The kupita dosha means in the first three stages of infection, maybe locally kupita or systematically kupita, gets sthana samshraya and produces the disease. That is called as apparent infection. If the doshas are not much kupita, not so virulent, they will stay as kupita itself and wait for a proper time to give rise the symptoms. Until they give rise the symptoms, if it is a spreading disease, it is nothing but the incubatory carrier. Means dosha is kupita, but it is not at sthana samshraya and not given even the purva rupa lakshanas. So still dosha is kupita and it is nabhasi, so it is spreading, roaming all over the body, and person may be, if he is the spreading disease, and person may be spreading the infectious agent. He has not developed any symptoms and it is nothing but the incubatory carrier. Kupitanam hi doshanam sharire paridhavatam yatra sangah kha vaigunyat vyadihi tatropajayate. Kupita dosha are moving all over the body, that is prasaravastha, and once the kha vaigunya occurs, at the place of kha vaigunya, vyadi develops. Till the vyadi develops, the stage is nothing but the carrier stage if the vyadi is of spreading nature. Adishete yata bhumim bijam kalecha rohati adishete yata datum dosham kalecha kupyati. It's one more shloka to explain incubatory carrier. Pratyanikasya kala prakrityadehe dosha viruddhasya balakshayah tena dosha vridya yada pratyanikasya kshayo bhati tada dvarayati ityartah. The kupita dosha is placed in the dhatu and gets turned into a disease when the kala comes. just like a seed inside the ground gets sprouted when the proper time comes. That is when a pratyanika balakshaya occurs, the disease gets manifested. What is the kala? When the doshas which are situated in the dhatu, the proper kala comes, it gets turned into a disease. What is that proper kala? He says, dosha viruddhasya balakshaya. Sorry, dosha vridya pratyanika balakshaya. Until the pratyanika bala, immunity, pratyanika balakshaya occurs, the disease doesn't get manifested. Until the pratyanika bala is strong enough, the kopita dosha, which is dhatugata, is nothing but incubatory carrier stage. Ayurvedic concepts of incubatory carrier. Out of 6 vyadhi kriya kalas, till the stage of sana samshaya, one may not be able to identify the disease proper. In the sana samshaya avastha, disease purva rupas will manifest, which helps to diagnose the disease as early as possible. But in first 3 stages, till the stage of prasara, only prakopita dosha lakshanas can be identified, not the vyadhi proper. So dosha prakopa has taken place. First 3 stages of infection, vyadhi lakshanas are not seen as in carrier stage. If it is of infectious origin, why it is not an incubatory carrier? Then next is convalescent carrier. Asanjata balo yastu jvara mukto nishevate varjametan narastasya punaravartate jvaraha durushrute shita dosheshu yasya va vinivartate swalpena pyapacharena tasya vyavartate punaha. This punaravartaka jvara directly doesn't give the clue of carrier stage, but we can understand by other means. Any infectious disease in its post-treatment stage, if it can reoccur just because of some improper habits, from where does the infectious agent came back? It is just because infectious agent was in the body, but its virulence was reduced. And by the time, because of improper habits, host immunity also got reduced and the disease remanifested. If the disease is not remanifested, if the condition is contagious one, it is nothing but the convalescent carrier. Disease, the person had the disease and he is not having any lakshana. After the treatment, he is not having any lakshana, but he is still spreading the disease. It is convalescent carrier. Where we can get the reference? In punaravartaka jvara. Punaravartaka jvara, person is jvara mukta. Due to some improper habits, he may get re-manifestation of the disease. If he has to get a re-manifestation of the disease, that infectious agent should be there in the body. If he is having that infection in the body, even after symptoms got reduced, that is nothing but the convalescent carrier. What is healthy carrier? Is he a healthy carrier? Is a healthy person? According to Ayurveda, yes, because a healthy carrier has never suffered from a disease. Presently also not suffering, never going to suffer in future. Sushtu nirvikarattvena avadishtate iti swastaha tasya bhavaha swastham. He sushtu nirvikarattvena, he never going to suffer. Nirvikara, vikara is not that. Nirvikarattvena avadishtata. Udvejaka dhatu vaishamya virahita dhatu samyam ityartha. Being without the affection of any disease is swasthya. It is nothing but the dhatu samya, the absence of udvejaka dhatu vaishamya. Apparent dhatu udvejaka dhatu vaishamya. Apparent dhatu vaishamya is not there. So dogastu dosha vaishamyam, dosha samyam arogata. A healthy carrier, upasargaja vyadha. In that, the concept of samsargaja vyadhi that we have seen. The person also can get the disease due to the relation with an asymptomatic person, but who has done the devadroha. That is samsargaja vyadhi. The who has done devadroha, he is spreading the disease, but he is asymptomatic. Relatively, he is swastha. So he may be healthy carrier, or if he attains the disease in the future, he is an incubatory carrier. To conclude, the carrier stage, prasaravastha of the disease is a carrier stage. Kupita dosha, which is dhatu gatattva, is a carrier stage. Maybe a dosha vriddhi stage, maybe a punaravartaka jvara stage, maybe a swastha, maybe samsargaja vyadhi, maybe aupasargika vyadhi. A carrier stage remains in the stage for many days to years for lifetime. A simple reason may lead to active stage of the disease. Coming to management. शेषत्वात् आयुषो याप्यम साध्यासाध्यता शेषत्वात् आयुषो याप्यम असाध्यम पत्यसेवया लब्ध्वा अल्पम सुखम अल्पेन हेतुना आशु प्रवर्तकम गंभीरम बहुधातुस्थम मर्म संधि समाश्रितम नित्यानुशायनम रोगम दीर्घकालम अवस्थितम. Some it cannot be, this ayapya stage may not be in all carrier stages. In some carrier stage it may be yapya. It gets aggravated by simple reasons. One need to follow always patya in carrier stage. It's the organism never gets out of the body. So like in Gambhira Dhatusta, if it is like in healthy carrier, Nityanushayi Roga, Dirghakala Avasthita Roga, etc. Management. Infection involves the complicated interactions of a parasite and the host and inevitably affects both. In most cases, a pathogenic process consisting of several steps is required for the development of infection, since the competent host has a complex series of barricades in place to prevent the infection. Whenever an infectious agent enters the body, to get into different stages of infection, it has to cross many barricades of host. So complex barricades, complex series of barricades the host has that has to cross. The successful parasite must use specific strategies at each of these steps. The specific strategies used by the bacteria, virus, or the parasite have some remarkable conceptual similarities, but the strategic details are unique not only for the each class of organism, but also for the unique species within the class. Unique to species within the class. So, one bacteria enters into the body, it has its own methodology, its own strategy to fight against the barricades. Prophylaxis, prevention of the disease or a preventive treatment. So, in Ayurveda, as it goes, Vikara Anutpatikara Chikitsa and Swasthasya Swasthya Rakshana Chikitsa. So for the physician, in the treatment of infectious disease, there are two ways to treat. Either killing or inhibiting the infectious agent or strengthening your barricades. We have seen infectious agent enters the body and there is a barricade. Either you have to kill the infectious agent or you have. So physician should have the substances which suppresses the growth or kill the microorganisms but have no or minimal effect on the recipient of the host. Here the principle of the treatment is just to kill the infectious agent which caused the disease, and the treatment doesn't have any role in the immunity of the host. So the same organism, if again infects or some other organism infects the body cannot defend itself. Again, some same or a new antimicrobial agent is required. So it's not wise to find an Ayurvedic antibiotic like allopathic science, that we have, yes, some drugs may have some antibiotic properties specific to some organisms. So, but in the same lines, if we go, this particular organism specific antibiotics that we may have to keep on changing in future like allopathic science does. The organism which is present today causing severe diseases like H1N1 was not present in yesterday's. Even though it was present, it was having some other gene type. The same medicine which was given at that time is not working this time. So we find out one organism specific Ayurvedic antibiotic which is highly sensitive today may become non-sensitive tomorrow. And by this antimicrobial treatment or treatment of killing the infective agent doesn't give you the ability to fight back against the same organism next time, and you just need the treatment again. So antibiotics typically retard the bacterial proliferation by entering the microbes and interfering the production of components needed to form new bacterial cells. However, the use and the misuse of antimicrobial agents encourages the evolution of bacteria toward resistance. Four major mechanisms mediate bacterial resistance to the antibiotic. Bacteria may produce enzymes that degrade antibiotics or that chemically modify and inactivate the drug. Bacteria may alter or replace molecules that are normally bound by an antibiotic, changes that essentially eliminate the drug's targets in the bacterial cells. Bacteria can eliminate entry ports for the drugs by altering the permeability, or bacteria may manufacture pumps that export antibiotics before the medicines have a chance to find their intracellular targets. But is it a Shuddha Chikitsa, giving antibiotics? Shuddha Chikitsa is one treatment which doesn't lead to another disease after treating the primary disease. The antimicrobial treatment or the treatment of killing the infectious agent doesn't give you the surety that it does not kill the normal flora of the body, and loss of normal flora may lead to another disease. So this is a treatment but not the proper or ultimate treatment or the Shuddha Chikitsa. Even though it is not a Shuddha Chikitsa, it doesn't mean it is of waste. It has its own importance, like if an terrorist inside the city creating the problem to the others, you have to kill him. If your defense force is not able to kill him, then you need support from outside, like some from other country. Antibiotics have their role, but if you consider that ultimate, then it becomes foolishness. The condition of carrier stage can be correlated to a terrorist inside the city and currently not creating any problem, but able to spread the terrorism within the city and nationwide. At that time, as he is not active, you may not kill him, but take him to the custody, study about the terrorism, and develop the anti-terrorism power. The same thing body has to do in the carrier stage. The medicine should support the body to develop the anti-terrorism power. Strengthening the barricades. What are the series of barricades? It is nothing but the immune system or defense mechanism of our body. Whenever any infectious agent enters the body, it may not end with only producing the disease. Whether it produces the disease or not, it totally depends upon the immunity of the body. If your body's barricades are not stronger, the infectious agent crosses each barricade and finally will produce the disease. The carrier stage is the stage of the disease where you have still scope to strengthen your barricades. So do whatever it requires to strengthen your barricades. Many specific host factors influence the likelihood of acquiring infectious disease, like age, immunization, history, prior illness, level of nutrition, pregnancy stages, coexisting illness, emotional status. All these have some impact on the risk of the infection after exposure to a potential pathogen. And all these factors that we are literally visualizing in this COVID-19 era. Person who is at the age of 70 plus or 60 plus, they are considered as more susceptible for COVID-19 infectious person converting into disease. The person with a low immunization, low immunity, with a previous history of lung infection, or with comorbidities, or with a pregnancy or coexisting illness, like that, there are all these factors which are having the influence of acquiring an infectious disease that we are visualizing in today's era. Again, age, Bala and Vruddha are however considered as having less immunity, and for them specific charyas has said in the Samhitas. Many of the षोडश samskaras do boost the immunity, and for whom all these are followed, immunity may be better. But at the time of infection in carrier stage, in Bala and Vruddha, a bit more attention may be required so that the spread from them may be easier. That may turn into active phase a bit quicker than the adults. Immunization. If the typical immunization schedule as per the government rules is followed, many of the infective diseases can be prevented and immunity can be maintained in the optimum level. Prior illness and the coexisting illness. They currently reduce the immunity level of the body, so proper treatment of those disorders is must and much helpful to strengthen the barricades. Nutrition. Adequate nutrition is vital for a healthy immune system. Nutrient deficiencies and excess can harm the immune system. Pregnancy status. It is very vital to scan for transmissible infections in the pregnant lady to have precautions of spreading to the fetus also. mental status has a very vital role in the immunity. An altered status person is prone to infections, and already infected person also will get altered mental status. So the role of Sattva Chikitsa in infectious diseases like HIV and hepatitis B, as well as in today's era like in COVID-19, is that counseling helps to prevent the spread of diseases, also to prevent the patients making suicidal attempts. So Ayurvedic ways to strengthening the barricades. One is Diracharya, Ritucharya, Rasayana and Vajikirana Prayoga, Sattvavajaya, Nitya Kshira Grita Vamsara Shasana, Sadvritta, Achar Rasayana, Yoga and Pranayama. Rasayana, we can go with the Naimittika Rasayanas by seeing the involved srotas. If the patient is in the carrier stage of some pranava sroto vikara, then go with the Rasayana which helps in that. Similarly, others. For that, we need to know the srota specific or disease specific Rasayanas. Naimittika Rasayana therapy, pharmacological and that nourishes and maintains the cell life, that nutraceutical action, encouraging the growth of new cells, preventing the recurrent infection, expelling the damaged cells, eliminate the toxic metabolites and pollutants, keep the balances between mind and body. Purpose of Naimittika Rasayana: bringing back to balance one or more Panchamahabhutas which get put out of balance from improper diet and digestion, Agnimandya, Ama, etc. Promotes the physical, mental and subtle level of our existence, not aimed to kill pathogens but increase the body's resistance, to assist body's own healing energies, to activate immune system to work in the way nature intended to do. The sroto-specific rasayanas like Rasavaha srotos where Lakshmi Vilas Rasa, Gandhaka Rasayana, Pippali Rasayana, Trailokya Chintamani or Shivagutika can be given. Raktavaha srotos, Buduchadi Modaka, Pushmanda Amalaka Rasa, Loha Rasayana, Dhatri Loha, Arogya Vardhani Rasa. Mamsavaha srotos where Pippali Rasayana, Surana Modaka, Vyagri Haritaki, Vallata Rasayana. Medovaha srotos, Siddhamaka Raduja, Shilajit Rasayana, Swaranavanga, Vasanta Kusumakara. Astivaha srotos, Tikta Grita, Kshira, Pravala and Gandhataila. Majjavaha srotos, Lashana Rasayana, Brahma Rasayana. Shukravaha srotos, Shatavari, Vidari Kanda, Ashwagandha, Vidaryadileham. These are some examples that there are many other medicines or single herbs that also can be used. Pranavaha srotos, Agastya Haritaki, Vyagri Haritaki, Chavana Prasha, Pippali Rasayana, Nagabala Rasayana. Annavaha srotos, Varchitraka Haritaki, Kushmand Rasayana, Pippali Rasayana. Udakavaha srotos, the Keshara Paka, Purana Chandrodaya Rasa, Puga Kanda. Purishavaha srotos, Vedanga Rasayana, Haritika Rasayana, Bilvadilikyam, Trifala Rasayana. Mutravaha srotos like Shirajat Yoga, Pashana Vedad Yoga, Gokshura Siddha Makaradhuja. The plants which are said to be immune enhancers like Amalaki, Ashwagandha, Yashtimadu, Pippali, Atibala, Tulasi, Punaranama, Guduchi, Haridra, Musta, Haritaki, Gokshura, Mandukaparni, etc. When we can get the incubatory carrier, we can also go with the treatment set for Prasaravastha. It is nothing but the dosha pratyanika chikitsa. Which dosa is involved, according to that, one can go for a particular treatment. If he is in a convalescent carrier, one can go for treatments like Jwara Mukte Virechanam, where one can increase the immunity and reduce the reoccurrence and the spread. If he is a healthy carrier, one can go for Ajatanam Vikaranam Anutpattikara Chikitsa, like Shashtika Nishali Mudgamscha Saindhava Malaka Yavan Antariksham Payasarpihi Jangalam Maducha Abhyasit. There are some research works. Our senior Dr. Abdul Qadir Patel has done with the help under the guidance of Dr. Mangalagi to evaluate the efficacy of Rasayana in the management of HIV by AIDS, a controlled clinical study. Objective of the study is to evaluate the effect of Rasayana by Ashwagandha Dilekya and a churna of indigenous drugs in HIV asymptomatic patients. Group A has given Haritakya churna, Ashwagandha Dilekya and churna of indigenous drugs. For Group B, Haritakya churna and a placebo capsules were given. Ashwagandha Dilekya. Ashwagandha, Sariva, Jiraka, Madhusnihi, Yela, Draksha, Grita are the ingredients The children of indigenous drugs are Guduchi, Nimba, Patola, Estimadu, Amalaki, Kapikachu, Shatavari, Pippali, Shunti, Gugulu are the indigenous drugs. Inclusion criteria. Patients of either sex were selected for the study. Age group below 65 were selected for suffering from asymptomatic HIV infection. Patients with the CD4 cell count above 300 were taken. Exclusion criteria: suffering from AIDS complex, that is CD4 cell counts less than 300. Patients who are under heart treatment, patients with the major systemic disorders were excluded. Intervention. In group A, Shodhana by Haritakya yoga, then Ashwagandha Dilekya 10 grams in the morning before food and same in the evening with the hot milk for 3 months. And the children of indigenous drugs 4 grams TDS with the lukewarm water for 3 months were given. In group B, Shodhana by Haritakya yoga, prepared placebo capsule, 1 capsule was given thrice a day for after food for 3 months. Investigations before and after treatment. These investigations were done. Government approved investigation by ACDC for confirmation of the diagnosis is done. This is the graph showing the results. Main targets of immune depletion by HIV are attachment with the CD4 cell receptors. Thus, this is a criterion and major component to prove the Rasayana effect of the study by checking the pre and post CD4 cell count. In group A, pre-mean is 497.083 and the post-mean is 582.17, where the drug notes a remarkable increase after the completion of 3 months. In group B, pre-mean is 449.916 and the post-mean is 397.75. Here, we note the fall of CD4 cell count. Our Rasayana drugs have proved to have an effect on improving one's immune as well as health status. So this is one example. So to conclude, since the World War II, it is just the era of antimicrobials, but the day by day misuse of those antimicrobials is increasing than the use. In the developed countries like USA, UK, it needs many investigations, including sensitive tests to prescribe an antibiotic, even though those are originate from their land. But in India, it's just like buying a Coke. I'm not against prescribing antibiotics, but the genuine prescription is required at least by Ayurvedic physicians. Why? Because modern world is blaming Ayurvedic physicians for antibiotic resistance as improper prescriptions. Understanding of a carrier stage is found a bit difficult, but I have tried my best to correlate to those of Prasaravastha or Swastha or Punaravartaka Jwara, etc. As an Ayurvedic physician, we need to focus on second aspect of the treatment as strengthening the barricades rather than killing the microbes. To kill the microbes, it requires plenty of researches as in modern science, but you will not be sure of its success. So strengthen your defense academy rather than only studying and killing the terrorist. The germ is nothing, the terrain is everything, said by Louis Pasteur, who found the germ. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vyasaraj Tantri, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That was a very elaborate description. So that was a very elaborate description on the carrier stage and then appropriate correlations of the principles of this carrier stage as per Ayurveda. Also, you have tried to give in this particular presentation. So nobody has put forward their questions on the chat box. So if anybody wants to clear their doubts, if anybody has some queries, you can just unmute yourself and ask at the speaker. Any of the participants, if you have any queries, please unmute yourself and ask the questions. We are almost nearing an hour, so we don't have much time.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, am I audible?
Audible, sir.
Yeah, you are audible.
Sir, nice presentation, sir. Thank you for that. And sir, can you just elaborate how incubatory stage and Ayurvedic, the correlation with the Ayurvedic career stages? In that point, I could not make it why how infection can be correlated, and also how the prasaravastha, when it is considered with the Rutu prakopa of doshas and all, can be correlated with the infectious diseases as such.
Rutu Prakopa is not Vyadhikriya Kala. So Prasaravastha in relation with the Vyadhikriya Kala, where Prasaravastha is not related to Rutu Prakopa. Alright, Rutu Prakopa, Vyadhikriya Kala is totally different and Rutu Prakopa is totally different. According to Vyadhikriya Kala, where the Prasaravastha, where before Sthana Samshaya, where doshas are Kubita, they are Paridhavata in Prasaravastha, they are spreading all over the body, moving all over the body, but not yet produced the disease. They are yet to produce the disease. In the next stage, they are going to produce the disease. If that particular disease is of infectious origin, means after 2 days, if the person is going to produce the disease in after 2 days, and that of infectious origin, until that day, which the dosha is moving all over the body, which is called as prasaravastha, is nothing but the incubation stage. Incubation stage of infectious disease is incubatory carrier stage, where person can spread. Carrier stage of incubation period for non-infectious disease also. Prasaravastha can be for a non-infectious disease also. Then you may not get these carrier stage of infection kind of this. It may be a carrier stage, but it is not infectious one. So infectious carrier stage means if the person is going to get a infectious disease in 2 days, till that day, if the dosha kopita and moving all over the body to get a particular site, sharire paridhavatam, once the particular site or time it gets, then the disease gets manifested. That particular time period is called as incubatory period. If the disease of infectious origin, then infectious incubatory disease. Is it clear?
Thank you, sir. Somewhat clear, sir. But you also said about Kala and Bala, sir.
So Kala, see, whenever Kala and Bala is there, Kala and Bala, those are the supporting factors. So if the person is having Prasaravastha, dosha is moving in the body, dosha is moving the body may not go into a Sthana Samshaya stage if the Kala and Bala is not supporting to the production of the disease. Those are, as I said, there is an epidemiological triad. There is an environment, there is a host, there is a pathogen. So, if the host is not supporting, means Bala. If the environment is not supporting, if the Kala is not supporting, only a pathogen cannot give you the disease, even though pathogen is very powerful. Kala doesn't need to be the Rutu Kala. Kala needs to be the person's Kala or the proper time. Kala refers to the proper time. Is it clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And about Leena dosha, sir?
Yes, if the doshas are Leena, if they are going to produce the symptoms, then when they are not producing the symptom, if they are infectious, then again you can consider it as carrier stage, but maybe the convalescent carrier. If the doshas are, see again, Leena dosha, doshas are Leena in the dhatus. If the Leena before the production of disease or after the production of disease, that again classifies into convalescent or the incubatory carrier.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any other queries? Okay, if there are no queries, then we would like to wind up the session. So thank you, Dr. Vyasaraj Tantri sir, for a nice elaborate description and also trying to clear some of the doubts. So on behalf of Munial Institute of Ayurveda Medical Sciences, I extend a thanks for this elaborate presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants also for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Thank you.